there's much greater interest in the Congress party, in Mr. Rahul Gandhi as a leader. So I think there'll be a lot of interest. The question, what we don't know yet, I mean, is how is he going to deal with his interests? What is he going to say?
Hi, sir. So, in this week's Raj Mandala, sir, you begin with Congress leader Rahul Gandhi's upcoming visit to the US. PM Modi is also set to visit America 2 weeks after that. You question whether domestic contestations between the parties will be visible in these visits. You then delve into the issue of India's internationalism, discussing the ways in which various leaders and blocs pursued international relations and intervene in global events. So, as you've mentioned in your article, the BJP has had the least lineage in terms of internationalism, but currently the diaspora is considered crucial to the party, with the overseas friends of the BJP having worked hard to ensure Prime Minister Modi's third term. How would you explain this change?
Look, I think what's happened is as the BJP became closer to power over the last many years, starting from the 90s, it kind of began to expand its base globally. And I think it has set up overseas friends of BJP, which has kind of connected to the Indian communities abroad, especially because the large concentrations in the West, as well as in our own neighborhood. So the BJP is making up for not having a historical international background today. The Congress, which had a very leading role in the world historically in terms of India's engagement, it has kind of dropped lost some of that over the decades, and now I think it's trying to regain that by one. If you know, last year Rahul Gandhi went abroad to US, UK, and Europe. And I think he's following it through this year. So, which means actually they recognize the need to engage diaspora in particular, as well as the broader international community. So I think it's a good sign that they're trying to reconnect to the world, because until now, in a way, they'd largely ceded the diaspora to to the BJP. So I think now, as they begin to compete for the diaspora's affections, then the question becomes, how do the internal differences between the BJP and the CPM, and the BJP and the Congress, how do they get expressed? I mean, are they going to uh, be more, in a way, are they going to come out sharper? Because if you recall, last time in 2023, when Rahul Gandhi went to the US, no, he talked about
Yes.
India's democracy in danger. Uh,
Mhm.
Now he's the leader of the opposition. He has a constitutional position. So the question is, how does he address his grievances against the government? Now, in the US and many other democracies, there's some unwritten rule that you don't take your domestic disputes abroad.
Right.
And now, is that something that the Congress and the BJP can now find informally, build that kind of norm, so that when the outreach to diaspora doesn't end exposing India's internal differences, as well as giving opportunities for outsiders to interfere in India's domestic politics?
Yeah. Actually, so my second question is leading from what you have just mentioned. So, on the other side, the Congress's relationship with the West declined when it made a strategic shift towards the Soviet Union, as you've also mentioned in your piece. So, do you think that these visits by Mr. Gandhi consecutively this year and last year will rejuvenate the other side of the diaspora, especially the Indian Overseas Congress?
Yeah, I mean, in fact, the last year's visit and this year's visit is being organized by the Indian Overseas Congress. As we
Hmm.
know, it's headed by Sam Pitroda. So that's what I mean. I think what had gone, shall we say, into moribund, the Indian Overseas Congress, today has been revived, because some of these Congress's outreach to diaspora, I mean, I think goes back to the national movement. I mean, I think when they were really connecting with mobilizing people around the world for India's independence. But I think
Yeah.
after independence, as they became the party of governance, they really, did not emphasize this part of it. So now I think they're trying to reconnect both to the diaspora, as well as to the political leaderships in these countries. So when Mr. Rahul Gandhi goes to Washington, as he's planning to next week, I'm sure he'll get a lot of attention, both from not only from the think tanks, but the US Congress and others might want to see him. So therefore, today, given its you know performance in the 2024 elections, so there's much greater interest in the Congress party in Mr. Rahul Gandhi as a leader. So I think there'll be a lot of interest. The question, what we don't know yet, I mean, is how is he going to deal with his interests? What is he going to say? So I would think it's kind of we've seen him internally pretty articulate and strong these days. The question is how will he modulate it for external audiences is something we're going to see in the next few days.
So actually, you are anticipating all my questions because my next question was going to be, what do you think, according to you, if you had to imagine the conversation with both Modi and the government and Rahul Gandhi and these various think tanks and the government, what do you anticipate the main talking points can be from both these discussions?
No, you're talking about Mr. Rahul Gandhi or Mr. Modi?
Both, sir. Both, sir. Since
No,
Modi
I
is
think
also
Mr.
visiting
Modi,
him.
see, look, Modi is the Prime Minister of India, right? I mean, so
Yeah,
there
yeah.
is, for him, there is a much, that he's been engaging with the US. Now this is 11th year as
Mhm.
Prime Minister. So he's, in terms of his articulation of his agenda, that is kind of well set. He's also been meeting the diaspora every time, wherever he went. And you might recall in 2014, he had this huge, rally in
Yes.
Washington, in New York. So that had made a great impression. But my sense is this time I think the framing of the diaspora event, I believe, is going to be framed as part of US-India cooperation. That the role of the diaspora in advancing US-India cooperation, how the two countries can go forward. So that's what we're going to see. And I think, given the questions that have been raised over the last year or so about India's role with its own diaspora, I think he will
Yes.
try and reassure people that look, India follows some basic norms. That it's this not India has no intention or desire to violate the sovereignty of US and other Western countries that have large Indian diaspora. And that's why whatever the reservations that might be in there, I think there will be a deliberate attempt, I think, to showcase that diaspora is about is a bridge, is a positive bridge between India and the US, and that it can actually facilitate the current juncture, which really US-India relations are at one of the best phases. And the question is, how can they help take this relationship forward?
Yeah, absolutely. But sir, in terms of Rahul Gandhi, since he's now the leader of opposition from last year when he talked about democracy in danger versus now as leader of opposition in the House, where we are seeing that Congress has gotten many more seats in the House. So what do you think the conversation will look like now?
No, that's the story for the next week. So I think so. I presume it will be different from than last time. So
Hmm.
last time, because the Indian democracy has corrected itself in many ways, that you can see it in many aspects. So I think it'll be smart for him, in my view, for Rahul Gandhi, to articulate his vision. What is his economic vision for India?
Hmm.
How does he plan to take India forward?
Hmm.
What is this vision for India's foreign policy? Those, I think, would make him, focus on that would be a positive way of engaging.
Hmm.
But if it is focused on domestic arguments and critiques, then I think it'll create potentially a ripple effect of its own.
So, so lastly, in a few words, how would you characterize India's current engagement with the world, given its traditional allies and partners also seem to be engaging more deeply with others?
No, I think there is an expansive engagement. I think I would say, as India's economy has grown since the 1990s, the foreign policy activity has significantly expanded. And I would say the Mr. Modi has brought a new vigor and activism to this engagement. And we've seen him travel to many countries for the first time by any Indian Prime Minister or in many, many years. For example, this week he's going to Brunei. This is the first time an Indian Prime Minister is going to Brunei. So my sense is that the last 10 years have seen a vigorous uh, attempt to engage the world, build stronger partnerships around, and to raise India's profile. And I think a growing economy and a stable government have actually helped Mr. Modi to do that. And I would think, much as in the way he signaled to the Indian business community 2 days ago, that look, reform will continue. We're going to go further towards transforming and modernizing Indian economy. I would think that message is also something I presume he would take it abroad.
Mm-hmm. All right. Sir, thank you so much. That's all from our side. You can all read this article on indianexpress.com and subscribe to the Indian Express channel for more. See you next week. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.